This episode of Profiles in Risk is brought to you by InsurTech Connect Las Vegas. The legendary ITC is coming back to Vegas October 14 to 16 at the Mandalay Bay Casino. ITC is the largest InsurTech conference in the world by a long shot and the absolute cannot miss event of the year. We never miss it, neither should you. Register today using our discount code INSNerd200. Again, that's INSNerd200 and see you in Vegas, baby. And when you're there, look for me. I'm the guy with the red top hat and ask me for a magic trick. Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas. Normally I say you're sleep deprived and over the caffeinated host, but I slept like a rock yesterday. But I am over the caffeinated as usual. Porque hay cafetico todos los días. Costa Rican coffee every day. Today, every day that I'm home, when I'm not home, I have to put up with Colombian crap. Or for whatever coffee I can find. Colombian is actually really good. Not as good as Costa Rican, but second best in the world. So today I have with me Daniel Palacios, co-founder and CRO at Sytrex. Daniel, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Thanks, Tony. It's going really, really well. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. My pleasure. So Daniel is Colombian, part of the reason why I am giving crap to Colombian coffee. And a beautiful country and delicious coffee. Not as good as Costa Rican, but second best is nothing it's nothing to be ashamed of. You are now living in Florida, correct?
Correct, in Boca Raton.
Boca. Okay, so normally we break the ice over the weather. So we're recording on July 3rd, just before the July 4th holiday. So Florida, I was there. I was in Fort Lauderdale 2 weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago. During conference season, I don't know, like time is meaningless, right? I think I was there for Rice Leadership Summit either last week or 2 weeks ago. And it was gorgeous. The year prior, it was ridiculously hot. And then last week, I was roasting here in Atlanta, and then in New York, and then in Las Vegas. So right now, I'm going to take a wild guess that it is hot, but not undyingly hot. I'm going to think about hot and humid, but not awful.
Yeah, like 80, give or take.
80 and humid is a little too hot for me, but that's not bad for Florida.
No.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, awesome. So we always give the guest the chance to give the elevator pitch. What is Sytrex?
Thanks, Tony. So Sytrex, we are an AI native company. We developed two AI agents. They're more like assistants for the underwriters. Funny thing, one is named Tony and the other one's named Steve. That's
right there. Okay, so even though I've interviewed like 150 AI companies and like 30 agentic AI companies over the last few months, I always take the time to say, okay, so in this case, by AI agents, we don't mean insurance agents. We mean agentic builds that help you do stuff. One of whose name is Tony and will soon be represented by okay, so what do Tony do? What does Tony do, and what does Steve do?
Tony's mainly focused for MGAs, for the underwriting teams for MGAs, and Steve is focused for the reinsurance brokers, underwriters.
Fantastic. You even chose the right name for the right thing, on reinsurance brokers and underwriters. Okay, perfect. All right, so. Okay. So what can Tony do for MGA underwriting teams?
So that's the first great question that we always get. What can you do for me? So the first thing is we love underwriters. We don't want to replace them. We think that that's not when I say we're a team of 3 co-founders and a 15-person team that currently represents Sytrex. We want to have underwriters in the center. But the thing is, we want to take away from them all the manual tasks and boring, repetitive work that underwriters, first, they don't like to do. Second, their time is not very good invested there. And third, we want to have them back in underwriting. Which task do we take away? So the first touch point that we have is with email. We
Is
want
with
to have
what?
email.
Email, okay?
We work with your email. You sync your email with our agent, Tony, and Tony's going to go through your email, triaging the emails. We know that MGAs have binders, policies, and risk appetite. So Tony will learn those and will put in front of the underwriter only the ones that make sense. For example, if you're a property and casualty MGA, you won't get D&O risks because they're not aligned. They fall outside of the binder, so it doesn't make sense to put it in front of you, and you get that time back to underwrite. The second step is we know you get a lot of documentation. For let's say a factory that you're going to reinsure, you get the inspection report that has the material of the walls, location, how many fire extinguishers does he have, how many sprinklers does he have, all that information in a 20, 50, 30, 100-page PDF that Tony takes and extracts that relevant information and puts it in front of you. So you move away from going through that PDF, reading all of it, to just having in front of you the information that you need to properly assess the risk. So
Perfect.
that's
I'm gonna pause you there for a second, and this might not work the first time, which is why we don't do this live. Okay. But if I'm understanding correctly, Tony can help with if your systems right now are keeping your underwriters performing at a 2 because you're hiring great people, but they are being held down by crappy old systems, right? And processes. With Tony by Sytrex, you can turn your 2s into aces. That was a little not great, but let me try. There we go. You can turn your 2s into aces. Nobody is here on Zoom, but it is in real life. But it is a great trick. I'm a professionally trained magician. I don't know if your friend.
Yeah. She told me
that. Okay. And I hadn't practiced that one in a while, but it just had to be done. Okay. So number one, Tony jumps into my email.
It helps you filter out what's not aligned with your binder, with your policies or your risk appetite, puts in front of you only the information or only the submissions that are aligned with what you do as an MGA. Second, then you will get that information to assess the risk.
Perfect. So the first thing it's doing, it's going over my email and identifying the stuff that might actually fit my appetite.
Yes.
And to the forefront.
Yes.
That itself is amazing. That in itself. Okay. What else does Tony do?
Then when you get that risk that's worth your time, that's worth your investment, you will need to assess it properly. And you get all this documentation that comes in PDFs, Excel, Word documents. Tony extracts the relevant information and puts it in a very digestible way so you can assess the risk properly. That's the second piece that we help. Third, once you're assessing the risk, usually what we have found, when you start building a new slip, you use one from the past. And sometimes some clauses, some exclusions get carried away, or they might be outdated, depending on the type of risk you're assessing. So we ensure that a new slip is created every time. It could be created by you, or if it's sent by the broker, Tony will upload it into a system and put it in a digestible way for you. And it will also give you what we call smart underwriting. When you have done, let's say, a factory in Guatemala, you will have certain parameters, certain exclusions, certain premiums that you want to charge, certain all these dynamics that you have to assess the risk. But let's say you get another one, not from Honduras, but from or Guatemala, but from El Salvador, another country that's kind of similar. Tony will tell you like, hey, you assessed this multiple risk in the past, and you suggested this clauses, you included these exclusions, you put these limits. You might want to take them into account. You as the underwriting the control, because you are in the front seat and you're driving the bus, will select the ones that are aligned. If they make sense, you include them. If they don't make sense, you will exclude them. So you won't never forget and don't leave anything behind. That's the third piece that we help right now.
That is amazing. I love that the name is Tony and you're gonna get emails, phone calls, etc. from me until Tony looks like this, or rather like that. But you should have named him Becky. Becky was my UA at Liberty, and she was beyond amazing. Because Tony's a great salesperson, but not a great assistant. All right. So that's Tony as of right now.
Yes, well, that's the third piece that we help. We have more branches. We also provide you with dashboards. We can connect to your currently policy admin system, to your CRM, to your financial, to your claim system. Depending on the system you have, we can connect, and we call this process architecture. So we draft it with your team, and we select where Tony is gonna extract information from and when he's gonna send information to. So you always have everything synced, and you have a source of truth that's aligned with what you're doing as the MGA. So you have your underwriters moving away from reviewing emails, reading PDFs, copy and pasting them, to having them actually underwrite and assess risks more than the admin work that first nobody wants to do. And second, it takes time away from actually underwriting, which is what generates revenue for the MGAs.
Beautiful. All right. So what about Steve? What does Steve do?
So Steve helps reinsurance brokers to do, I wouldn't say the same, but kind of similar. The variations, they also depending on the workflow that you have. But mostly we have seen same process with the emails, extraction with the emails. The difference comes when you go to market. When you are a reinsurance broker, you're going to go to market, and you have your preferred MGAs, reinsurers, companies that you work. So going to market also, it's a very important part, and we will help you based on the previous experience that you had, which are the top MGAs or reinsurers that you work for all the type of risks. So once you're going to market, it will show you which ones are the best fit for what you currently have. It could be because they pay you more, because they reply faster, because they have better conditions for your customers so you can close the deal faster, or they always go with the first portion of the risk, they go with the later one. So depending on all those variables that can be taught to Steve, will help you there. And we keep the market sheet so you know if you're already at the volume that you require, or you're missing something. I will tell you, hey, you're missing 10 million, 20 million. You can go with this couple of reinsurers or MGAs. That's like the main difference. But we have customers, funny enough, that have a reinsurance broker at an MGA, and we have Steve talking to Tony within the same organization. So it's two agents talking to each other when they need some information from one place to another.
Love it. All right. What is the implementation like? So if I run an MGA or I run a reinsurer, I'm significantly more familiar with the carrier side, because that's where I used to work. I have worked at plenty of MGAs and some reinsurers as a recruiter. But I don't know the systems as well in those sides of the industry. But I'm gonna take a wild guess that most MGAs and most reinsurers reinsurance brokerages are working in systems that are not fully modern. So what is the integration like for Steve and for Tony?
We have seen all over the place, from MGAs that have no CRM, and they operate out of an Excel spreadsheet, which is totally fine. We can have Tony be a kind of CRM because it gives you that preview. Or we have MGAs that are completely, let's say, they call themselves InsurTech MGAs. So they're
many, yes.
They're more modern. They use system policy admin systems. Like the major brands are always up there. They use CRMs as well. The Salesforce, the HubSpot of the world. They have QuickBooks to run their financials and their invoicing, and they have this beautiful workflow that integrates end to end. But to answer your question, how do we fit in and how does implementation look like? We have most of our implementations are between 8 and 6 weeks, depending on the size of the MGA. When I say size, is the amount of submissions they get. We usually start with one business line, and then we move along the other ones. We have customers that have up to 12 business lines. So you could have one or even more, but we always suggest to start with one. That takes about 4 to 5 weeks. The first meeting is what we call process architecture. We will see your process being done by an underwriter. It could be either business line, let's take property. So we have your property underwriter, and it's going to show us how the process starts. You start with the email, I extract information here, this is what I put into the system. So then we know how to craft the interactions that Tony's going to have. And then we'll present it to you. Like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. MGA, the interactions that Tony is going to have, it's going to put information, it's going to extract information, it's going to send it to this information, it's going to extract it from here. Once we agree on that, we will need training information. First of all, the data is always for the MGA. We will never use that data to train a different business model. We have a 3-layered approach to train our agents. The first one is all the language models that everybody knows, the ChatGPTs, the Anthropics, Geminis of the world. Then we have a proprietary algorithmic layer that we created with all the reinsurance information that's available for us, and we trained it. And the third layer is with the information of our customer. That information is exclusively used for that customer, even though everybody does underwriting. Nobody does it in the same way as any other MGA. That's something we have noticed over and over again. Everybody has their own variations. So that's why each one of our agents only works with that MGA or that reinsurance broker, because it's carefully designed for their needs. How do we get that information? We ask for a couple of slips, a couple of emails, a couple of inspection reports or aviation reports, depending on or ACO reports for workers' compensation, or you get all that information that's required to properly assess the risk. Then with that data, we create what's called synthetic data. So we transform the data that you have given us into different variations, so the agent has more information to give the proper response. Then we go into testing. We will get one policy that you have already underwritten in the past, and we run it through Tony. And Tony's going to show you the results that is achieving. And you, as the underwriter or the underwriting team, will tell us if they agree or they disagree with the output. If they disagree with the output, what's required, then we run it again, we train it, we test it, we change it, and adapt it until it meets the expectations and the level of service that you require.
Okay.
Once that's approved, we go into pre-production. What's pre-production? We get one submission, that you're getting brand new that hasn't been underwritten, and we run it through Tony, and we run it through the underwriter as well. And then we compare answers on the expectations. If everything is okay, we go into production. If it's not okay, same process. What's missing? What information do you need? So we retrain it until you're fully satisfied. To ensure that our customers are really happy, we give a 30-day guarantee. If they don't like it, they can cancel anytime. We will ask questions like, hey, what's missing, so we can improve ourselves, but we won't force you into a contract. That's why we give a 30-day guarantee.
All right. Fantastic. Normally we talk about pricing, but you kind of already addressed that. We talked about implementation. What is it called? Origin story. How did the three of you realize that this was needed in the MGA and reinsurance space, and that you were the right people to make this magic happen?
So that's actually a great story. Carlos and myself. Carlos is the CEO and my co-founder.
Is he a fellow Colombian?
Yes, he's a fellow Colombian, and he and I went to the same high school together. Well, not at the same year. I'm a little bit older, but we went to the same high school. Actually, he went with the same year as my brother. So we knew each other from a while ago. And he started his career in entrepreneurship. He has done multiple companies. A couple of highlights. He had a telehealth clinic that he scaled to $3 million in sales. Then he moved on to investment platform that enable Latin American people to buy real estate in the US, buy the fraction, not the whole property, which was called Macondo. He scaled that to 40 million in assets under management and sold it in 2023 to BlackRock. Well, through their crowdfunding branch, which is called BrickSafe, that's based out of the UK. Then, when he sold that, he went to Stanford to do a course in AI. And once he did that course, he came back and he told me, hey, Danny, I think there's something here. I'm like, tell me more. His father used to have a reinsurance broker. He's already retired. And he told me, I believe we can apply what I have seen underwriters doing like very manual work with AI. There's the match. He told me, Danny, do you want to join this? But it took me 15 minutes to tell him like I'm all game. I'm all in, no doubts. They told me we need to find a CTO. So we went and recruited Andres. He has done machine learning models for several
Yet another
startups.
Colombian?
Yes, fellow other Colombians. We're three Colombians in the company.
Uh-huh.
And he has done a lot of machine learning models for other LATAM startups. He did a time in consulting at Accenture. And most recently, he was part of the largest machine learning partner that the AWS has across LATAM.
Uh-huh.
And then we told him like, hey, and he said like, come on, I've been doing this for a couple of US companies, regulated industry, insurance and financial. I think it's here. And the
Okay.
third piece is it's myself. I'm
Oh
the
my God.
salesperson.
Okay. The fact that one of you guys is named Andres, okay? Only the Colombians will catch this joke. But Colombia pride, okay? The fact that I don't know if you're from Bogota, but the fact
Yes, I am.
okay, the fact that one of you guys is named Andres, you guys missed a massive opportunity with the name, and I'm curious about the name. The name should have been
Carne de res.
Andres Carne de AI. Andres Carne de AI. I'm gonna buy the domain name right now, okay? Or something along the lines, right? You get
Yeah.
said it, right? For the listeners, Andres Carne de Res is an amazing restaurant with at least 2 locations in Bogota that is famous for great steak and a great party. And it's like it's very touristy, but it is wonderful. So yes, given and the name Andres is a Spanish name, so given that the company is Colombian and one of them is named Andres, basically we're grabbing the restaurant name and just adding AI to the end. So yeah, this is such a great story. Why did you guys name it Sytrex?
So we named it Sytrex. We actually did a lot of brainstorming,
Okay.
and we came with 2 big words that we wanted to combine, which was syncing, because we want to sync all the information that the underwriters have.
Okay, sync like SYNC,
Yes,
not like
and
SINK. It's our
no,
accents. I completely get it. Okay, so
S, Y, and C.
we want to
So
sync.
yeah, the matrix.
Uh-huh.
So matrix is all that information that's out there, and to make it to sound more friendly, so we put Trex. So Sytrex.
Perfect. All right.
So sync in the matrix.
Okay.
Sytrex.
And it looks like you guys have been at it for about a year, a little bit less than a year. So I love having insurtechs that are fairly early stage, right? So where are you in the process? So like because sometimes I have insurtechs that are still very much building the product. They don't have any clients on it yet. What is the reality of the product today? And what else do you need to make this into a reality?
That's a great question. It's actually a reality. We have live customers using our software, being more productive. We have found that
So everything you described about Tony and about
yeah. Steve.
This is hilarious because Steve is one of my junior recruiters who's a former insurance agent, Steve. And also my coach here at with the Goodwin Recruiting Partnership is also named Steve. Okay, so I'm having a lot of fun with this. So everything you describe about Tony and Steve is already live.
Yes.
Amazing. So in that case, the question is, what else is coming in the future? Let's say for the rest of 2025, we're recording in July. For the rest of 2025, what is on the development pipeline that you can already talk about?
So we received funding early this year. So we did a pre-seed round. 1.1 was when they did the Forbes News, but right now we're more on 1.8 that we have raised from people within the industry and great investors from San Francisco. That's where Carlos lives, and that's like the on the funding side. Right now we have 12 customers across the world. We were born AI native company within the reinsurance space, and our customers are in the US, in the UK. We have customers in Dubai and in a couple of countries in Latin America.
Okay. I have another very important question.
Go ahead.
So you're both Colombian. You both live in the States. Andres lives in San Francisco because he's the tech guy.
No, he lives in Colombia, where most of our dev team is.
Oh, so who lives in San Francisco?
Carlos, the CEO.
Okay, Carlos lives in San Francisco because he's the CTO.
CEO, he's the CEO.
Okay. So Carlos lives in San Francisco. You're all Colombian.
Yes.
If I were you, or Andres, every month around the first of the month, when we get on our daily call or whatever, I would like raise my rent statement and be like, hey, Carlos. and then I would literally like turn off I would turn off my background, right? And I would go like, look at my absolutely beautiful place, right? And you're paying like a third what he's paying for rent. And it is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, that actually happens.
But it had to. Like quite honestly, like how could you not? Just this conversation is happening in Spanish. That's the only difference. But yeah, basically in Boca, you can get a darn nice place for like a third of like
even less
the basic apartment that he lives in San Francisco. So and San Francisco is a beautiful area. I lived in Berkeley for a year.
Okay.
Expensive unless you're in tech. It's just not worth it, right? Oh my god, this is so much fun. So much fun. Daniel, anything else that you want to talk about before we kind of start closing down?
Yeah, no, totally.
The basics. Very exciting. I definitely want to have you guys back as this grows and expands. And I won't lie, there's a certain level of Latino pride. That I like pushing the los parsas that are doing cool stuff in the industry. I was very alone in this industry for a long time. And I worked people go like, oh, Tony the insurtech guy. No. Tony's a traditional insurance guy from freaking Iowa. I lived in Iowa for 10 years, out of which I worked 6 of those in insurance. And then I lived in Ohio. For a long time, it felt like I was the only Latino in insurance. And it turns out I'm not, right? And since then, I've met, like, I went to InsurTech Latam, and it turns out there's really, really, really impressive technology that is being built in Latam for insurance. And I connected with Hugh Berton, who is not Latino, but right, kind of is the center of the InsurTech world down there. And I went to InsurTech Latam forum, and I've met so many really impressive people, and the InsurTech Latam island or neighborhood at ITC is a lot of fun. So I've discovered that I'm not the only one, but I do have this weird like pride for the Latino InsurTechs. So anything I can do to help, this is such a pleasure.
Thanks, Tony.
And anything else before we finish recording?
Yes, you asked about pricing. I didn't mention pricing. Right now, I would say we have pretty affordable prices, depending on the amount of submissions you get. We have a 5-question form that you fill out, and we can definitely give you a very accurate pricing. It starts from 2,000. We have seen $2,000 per month. There's
Uh-huh.
no hidden cost. That's only all you pay. Well, if you exceed on the amount of credits that we give you, you're gonna pay the surplus. But other than that, there's no implementation fee, no maintenance fee. That's just your one consumption fee. It starts at 2,000. We have seen customers at 300 submissions per month, around that range, and we have customers with 2,500 submissions per month. That's more on the 15,000 US dollars per month. So that's to give you a range, depends on the amount of submissions you have.
All right, fantastic. I love the transparency. You went out of your way. Normally, I make that question of people, right? And I've learned I've learned to ask about the pricing philosophy. So basically, the guests can take it in whatever direction they want, because that was the number one thing that I would get emails saying, "Hey, can you please cut this part?" So like my goal is to get this out with no editing, with like just adding your name and my name and the company names.
Yeah.
So for my own protection, to minimize the amount of edits I have to make, nowadays what I ask for is the pricing philosophy. So they can BS if they need to, or they can be extremely transparent, like you have just been. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
Bien, un placer,
Thank
hermano.
you. Muchas gracias.